I'm Erica.
And I'm Lynn, and today we're going to talk to you about the Go Cube Quilted Pillows.
Woo! These are so adorable.
I love them.
And when I came in and I saw the big one this morning, I thought that I have to go home and make one of those for my 16-month-old grandson. I think he'd have a ball with it.
Right, so what we want to do is we want to give you as many ideas as possible with what you can do with your cubes. And the possibilities are really endless.
That's right. Now, we've talked in other videos about some of our mix and match and our basic squares. So what we really want to focus on for you today is how to actually put the cube together.
Right. So we're going to fast forward to the assembly part of it.
That's right. So let's get started.
All right.
Okay, so we've put this together, and the pattern will give you a diagram to help you see how you lay out your basic layout here with kind of a cross shape. And we've actually gone ahead, it's pre-quilted, so it would be a little tricky to quilt it once it's all sewn into a square. So we've got our backing and our batting, and we've pre-quilted it.
Right, and it's nice that with the diagram that you mentioned here, there are letters, so then you can follow along with which sides to sew together first.
Right. So we've also, the directions will tell you to go ahead and stitch it all together real close to the edge, and then go ahead, take your scissors, make just a little snip in that corner just up to that seam allowance. What it's going to do is help us have it put together easier and lay better as we assemble. We're going to start at the top, kind of work our way around. So I'm going to get started with that. Now the one trick here is going to be that you're going to want to start your sewing up here at the top, sew down to the bottom, and you're going to want to stop a 1/4 inch from the end, and that's going to give us that seam allowance to put the top together. So I'm going to mark that. Now you can mark it with a pen if you want to. I tend to mark it with a pin because, you know what, Lynn, I get a little carried away and sometimes I just keep sewing. So I like to go ahead and put a pin in right at that 1/4 inch just as a reminder to stop.
Right, yeah. The pin definitely screams that, doesn't it?
It does.
All right, so while you're sewing, I just want to talk a little bit about all the possibilities with these projects.
Perfect.
So not only we've got samples here of all the different sized cubes, so you could use your 6-inch, 8-inch, 9-inch, or your 12-inch and make these great blocks that are perfect for a baby shower, or for, as you mentioned, Erica, you know, for any of the little kids in your lives.
Oh,
they would absolutely love these. And I was thinking myself, for all of my sample blocks that I make with my cube, this is a perfect way to really be able to use those. That looks great.
So we've got our first one together.
Yep, okay.
And you can see that because we did that little clip here, we're gonna full out nicely here.
Very nice.
I'm going to go ahead then and keep going here. So,
okay. All right. So then you keep following around.
Right. You're going to keep following around. Again, you're going to want to be sewing from this up to the center down to this point. Now that's where my underneath lies. I want to again go back in. I got to remind myself to stop. So I'm going to take my pin, put it in there, and keep going. Like I said, you can make a mark with your pen if you want to, but it seems to scream stop a little bit more, and it's a lot easier to see.
Right, so you're going from the inside edge to the outside edge and stopping a 1/4 inch from the edge. And now the choices here, I've got our 72 blocks that you can make with your mix and match cubes. And I don't know if you can see that, but so you can choose whatever blocks that you like. So, or you could make them all the same.
Yeah,
and
you could.
This is a great way to use up scraps. And you know, I mentioned my my sample blocks that I make, but I just think that you could have a lot of fun and putting these cube pillows together. So let's see. Oh, look at that. There we go.
Look at that. We're coming right together. I'm going to go ahead.
All right. So now you're putting the C to C sides together.
Yes.
We've got the A and the B done.
The A and the B.
All right. So we thought it was really important to show you this whole assembly process so that you could see how easy it is to put it together. But the pattern does have really excellent instructions.
It's got great instructions. Oh, and we forgot to mention, but our samples were made with some super fabric from Timeless Treasures.
Yes, absolutely, just gorgeous. Really has the bright, pretty colors.
Again, those would be great for a kid's room, but you could make them match any nursery. I mean, what a cool shower gift. I may have to think about that. I got a shower coming up in September.
Right. I think if you brought these to a shower, you would definitely be the wow of that
I think you'd be the wow factor, yeah. We all like to be the wow factor, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, I am doing a little backward stitch just to help make sure I keep my act together here. So I'm almost done. I've got one side left to put together. And then the top is really going to be like an envelope kind of affair. It's going to fold over the top. So let me get this quick here.
All right. I think this is also a great project to practice your machine quilting skills on your home machine. Because
you could, yeah.
The smaller blocks, you definitely can do that.
And you could do some fun things, and you'll see on the samples that we've done different things on the different squares, and I think that's fun too. Again, anything for visual interest. Now, we did a kind of I think we did a white or an off-white for the quilting on these, so it really does blend in. But you could do it as a high contrast too and really make it a feature.
Sure, yeah. This one shows you just a simple diagonal stitch here. This one's got a horizontal stitch to it, so really simple. And you also could do a stitch in the ditch if you wanted to do it that way, or really it's your choice. So
now we've got our basic, and we're inside out because we've put right sides together all the way along. So now what we're going to do is go back in, and this is where that 1/4 inch that we left open is important. We're going to take and sew this. We're going to match up the top corners here. And again, I want to start at my 1/4 inch too. So it's just good idea. Now, if you're really good at eyeballing your 1/4 inch, I think by the time I got done with 1 or 2 of these, I'd probably just be eyeballing it. But it does help me remember where to start and stop. And a pin may help you keep this all together as well, because it is just a little trickier the further we get into our cube here. And the other tip would be to be sure that you don't sew yourself into yourself, I guess.
Right.
Keep your unsewing out of the way. And again, my pin here, so I don't forget. Okay. And then you don't want to, I guess it's good to mention, I know it's in the directions, but be sure you don't sew all the top pieces all the way together, because you have to have a way to turn it right side out, and then you have to have a way to stuff it.
Right, and so the directions, the pattern just calls for, I think it's just a poly batting that you want. You can just select whichever one you want to use for that, but you can pick that up at any craft or sewing store.
And a nice thing about how we've quilted it before we put it together, a kind of an added benefit, if you will, of that, is that we put that together with our batting. And what that's going to do is ensure that you have a smooth outer layer. You don't have the bumpy that we can sometimes get when we stuff things. So we could go ahead, and I would go ahead and do this side and maybe start this one, but leave most of it open so that we can then turn our cube
that we made with our cube.
That is a cube. We love a good theme.
Right, exactly. That looks great.
And we've got it then ready to go ahead and press that, fill that up with our batting, and stitch it together.
Wow, that went together really quickly.
So you'd only have that little bit then that you'd have to go ahead and stitch either by hand or by your machine. And certainly, I think for the one I'm giving John, I'm going to stitch it by machine so it doesn't pop open on him.
That's a great idea. All right.